Diamonds in the Rough with Ben Jackson.
And let's talk about the responsibilities of a news segment. Okay, so when it comes to putting together a news segment report, there are several people involved. The first is the assignment editor, and then the producer, the director, and the reporter, which is known as talent. Now, the assignment editor basically serves as the heartbeat of the newsroom. That's the person who locates and finds the interesting and good stories, whether it's through research, contacts, word of mouth, etc. And that person works very closely with the executive producer, the producers, and sometimes even the director and the talent, depending on the situation. The producer facilitates and oversees news content, the production and flow. Example given how the show and the segment should look overall, and works closely with the executive producers, the assignment editors, and the editors. Moving on to the director. The director is actually responsible for working closely with the producer and brings the producer's vision to life. So as you can see, while you may actually just see the talent, whether it's the reporter or the anchor, there are a lot of people behind the scenes that are actually making this all happen. So there's a lot of brainstorming, a lot of back and forth meetings, a lot of talk, a lot of conversations that happen in order to actually produce a news segment. It just doesn't happen by one or two people. It's not just the reporter and the cameraman. It's a lot of folks who are behind the scenes that actually make that segment come to life and fruition. And more about the director, they also help when it comes to managing everything from the camera positioning, framing, to lighting and audio. So they are involved with a lot of moving parts. All right, so once again, a pleasure to actually be with you guys tonight. This is actually, I have two passions, and this combines both of them. And that's giving back to our youth as well as the field of news and communications. So as we mentioned before, I have extensive years of experience in the news segment, so won't get into that. We'll just jump right into it. So with that, no further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we want to initially talk about how to report news segments and what is news. So news should be informative, entertaining, and educational. When we talk about informative, all right, so when we talk about informative, we're talking about basically current events, newly received or noteworthy information, especially recent or important events, information that is not previously known by or to someone. And when we talk about entertaining, we talk about the fun, enjoyable, and pleasurable parts of news, activity that holds one's attention and interest, gives pleasure and delight. And moving on to educational, the third form of news is meant to enlighten. Its intent is to be about attaining and gaining ownership of knowledge and skills, something that will be buried in the back of your mind and something that you won't have to think about in the future.